Hello, hi, welcome to GMA Talk, your most beloved, your most awesome talk show right here on YouTube and your favorite social media platform, GMA Talk, a media and advocacy platform for everything refugees in Canada and around the world. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and stay tuned on weekly videos on everything about refugees and on refugees. And at the same time as we are ending the year of 2020 and going into the year of 2021, I hope to really continue building the platform and projects on the ground here in the community in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So thank you for all who continues to support. Thank you for all who continues to watch. Thank you for all who continues to share, liking, commenting. Thank you very much. And if you are not yet one of those people, please subscribe and stay tuned. It's just one tiny small click. Beep, subscribe, and there you go. Thank you very much. Today, this week's topic is refugee or migrant. So there is a lot of confusion and mix or interchangeable between are they refugees or are they migrants? So in order to really help drive the dialogue and help in getting this message clear, I will put some link from the UNHCR on the differentiation of refugees and migrants. So, but for the next few minutes in this video, so those are the differences in the conversation that we will highlight and talk about today. So let's start first of all refugees. So as you can see yourself, the conversations around the world are not seems to finishing. The displacement of people around the world is becoming more and more every day. People literally are fleeing from their homes every day around the world and becoming refugees or becoming asylum seekers. So according to the UNHCR, out of by mid-2020, there have been over 80 million displaced people around the world. And out of these 80 million displaced people around the world, 26.3 million of them are refugees worldwide. Imagine 26.3 million people, refugees, over 80 million people displaced around the world. These two numbers, these two statistics, there are some countries which are less population than the refugees populations around the world and the displaced people around the world. You can only imagine and think of that. So now, who are refugees? Refugees flee their country. Refugees flee their home country as a result of their rights, freedom, persecution, threats, as a result of their life being in danger. So they have to flee their country for safety, for shelter, for support, for protection. So refugees are people who seek protection in other countries as a result of their life, their freedom, their rights, their association. You are getting political refugees, conflict refugees. So there's all different situations in the country which causes people to become refugees. whether it's from association of rebel groups, or rebel groups are attacking them, or their lives, they cannot, the government cannot protect them, or at the same time there's a conflict that is happening, there's a civil war that is happening. So there's a lot of internal conflicts in the country and disagreements in the country, which is as a result of people becoming refugees. So refugees don't just wake up on a beautiful sunny morning or beautiful cloudy morning deciding to say, oh, so maybe today I should leave my country. So there's no really that like logical process. Is like, okay, which country will I go to? Which people will receive me? Which organization will receive me? Refugees just, whether it's in the middle of the night, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the day, whether it's you are eating food on the table, whether you are sleeping, refugees, because life is in danger. So just moment like that, without any notice, you are becoming, or you have become, a refugee as a result of that direct threat to your life and your family's life, and everybody becomes a refugee in nearby country. So, and then often now, when refugees have lived when refugees have sought refuge in another country, so now when you talk of refugees, which is called repatriation, when you talk of refugees going back to the countries, which is one of the solutions intergovernmental organization and UNHCR and governments try to seek. When you talk about repatriation of refugees, then those conditions which force the refugees, the people, to run, first of all, have to not be longer present in terms of the threats and the rights and the freedoms, and the government, the home government, really have to ensure that the people, upon returning to the home countries, they will be protected, they will be offered basic needs and necessities, and their lives will not be in danger. So most of the time you're getting this security, sense of belonging, safety. This cannot be guaranteed, whether it's from the government, from rebel groups, from other non-state and state actors in the region, in the country. So the safety and security and the shelters and everything cannot be guaranteed in order to allow refugees to return home, because they ran first of all because of those same situations, because of their life being in danger. So now when you get now to migrant, so migrants, most of the time, these people, either like choose to move as a result of education, as a result of employment, as a result of family reunification, or as a result of just wishing to start a new life in a new country. So, and then in terms of migrant, they're not protected under this in terms of the refugees international law, or like under the international law framework for vulnerable people protection, and also in terms of seeking asylum or being protected as refugees are protected, because migrant also they have that the safety and security if or when they choose to return back to their home of origin country. That security and safety can be guaranteed by this government or other actors in the country. So migrants, they are the ones who move, as a result of wanting to different lifestyle, upgrading on education, employment, or even at the same time as family reunification, as I've said. But and then at the same time though, when people become migrant, when they move to a new place, the same migrant people can also become refugee or asylum seekers. Otherwise, you might get, somebody, let's say, who moved maybe, let's say one country, like from maybe somebody who moved from Nigeria, right, to further studies abroad, and then as a result of maybe like political conditions or his or her life, or family life being threatened back home, or as a result of situations and events having changed in the home country, then that person who had originally moved as a migrant, to establish or to study or to build a new life, so if they feel that, maybe the documentation or the paperwork or the studies is coming to an end, or at the same time maybe employment wise, work permit cannot be renewed or is coming to an end, and they don't have a choice to return home because their life will be in danger, or their life is now threatened, or their family's life is threatened, then for the safety and security, they can apply for asylum in that country which they are, and then they, as a result, they become under the term of asylum seekers, and now they have to go through, like, in terms of like refugee board, refugee board or immigration board, or there's a committee who decides on the case in terms of the merits of the case, the conditions, the danger, the situations, in trying indeed to decide is, if you go home, will you be killed? Or if you go home, will you not be in danger? Will you be threatened? Is your family on the move? There's all these criteria under like the board, which really approves those asylum seekers applications in order to decide indeed whether you should become protected under the refugee status as a result of now your situations having been changed. So, but in brief, the difference between refugees and migrants, don't confuse them. And right now, with conflicts and more people fleeing, we need to be clear and clear more than ever. So refugees are people who seek protections as a result of their lives being in danger, and they've no choice but to flee. Otherwise, the only choice is death or torture. Everything that doesn't guarantee under the human rights, life and protections and well-being. On the other end, you have migrants who moves as a result of educations, work, family unifications, or just migrating and living in a new country. But migrants, sometimes they can also become refugees, depending on the conditions and the situation changing in their lives, or as a result of situations that changing in the countries where they come from. So, from yours truly, Gerard Mutabazi Amani, that's the conversation of today, that's the topic of today. Please feel free to comment, feel free to share your thoughts and opinion or stories in terms of refugees versus migrant, and let's start a dialogue and to ensure that people who need protection, they are protected. People who need help, help is being offered to them, instead of turning people away or having that false perception and stereotype of refugees just becoming refugees of their own choice, their own willing. So please subscribe, please comment, please like, please share. Again, right here on GMA Talk. Until next time, for new conversations next week. Love, peace, and unity. Support refugees in your community around the world. Learn about refugees in your community around the world. Let's meet next time right here on GMA Talk. Peace.